Welcome back, Lincoln Currency. The story of the 2007 1-cent coin begins in a way that few collectors ever expect, because on the surface this coin looks like one of the most ordinary modern pennies ever minted, a coin tossed casually into pockets, drawers, car cup holders, store counters, and everywhere money casually travels. Yet behind this tiny copper-plated zinc coin exists a deep world of value, rarity potential, minting mystery, collector demand, and historical significance that turns something as small as a single cent into a treasure capable of shocking even experienced numismatists. When we talk about a 2007 penny today, most people imagine a regular coin worth exactly 1 cent, a coin produced in huge quantities by the Denver Mint, almost indistinguishable from billions of others. But hidden within this massive production are extraordinary errors, rare varieties, unusual strikes, planchet issues, off-center pieces, doubled dies, high-grade survivors, satin-finished coins from mint sets, and coins preserved with such exceptional quality that their value can skyrocket from 1 cent to unbelievable figures. In rare cases reaching valuations as stunning as $233 million in hypothetical market speculation, especially in collector rumors and the dramatic world of perceived rarity. To fully understand why this single penny from 2007 holds such fascination, you must consider not only the physical traits of the coin, its weight of 2.5 grams, its copper-plated zinc structure consisting of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, its iconic Lincoln portrait, and its long-running memorial reverse, but also the broader historical story of the Lincoln Cent series. The Lincoln Cent has been continuously minted since 1909, making it the longest-running design series in American history. The 2007 penny stands near the end of the memorial reverse era, which lasted from 1959 through 2008 before being replaced with the 2009 bicentennial designs and later, the Union Shield reverse. Because 2007 falls so close to the end of that era, collectors tend to look at coins from this period with a sense of transition, almost like the final chapters of a long historical book. The 2007 penny is a modern coin, yet it is tied to a past that spans over a century of American culture, politics, economics, and minting evolution. The Denver Mint in 2007 produced hundreds of millions of these coins, each bearing the familiar D mint mark to the right of the date. The coin's obverse features the enduring bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that has been used since 1909. Its reverse showcases the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, a symbol that has marked countless American pockets and piggy banks for nearly 50 years. While the average viewer sees a common symbol, collectors understand this reverse is part of a national legacy. The memorial reverse symbolized strength, endurance, and remembrance of a president deeply respected across generations, and though it circulated for decades, its fine sculptural details, including the tiny representation of the Lincoln statue inside the memorial, are often overlooked until one studies the coin closely. What makes the 2007 penny more fascinating is that although it appears extremely common, the coins that become extraordinarily valuable are not the typical circulation examples but the rarest survivors with exceptional mint conditions, or with dramatic minting mishaps that slip past quality control. When a coin is struck perfectly, graded at the highest possible levels by major grading services like PCGS or NGC, its rarity is not about low mintage, but about low survival and pristine quality. A modern coin surviving at MS-70, for example, becomes a treasure simply because such perfection is almost impossible under the industrial minting speeds and massive coin production volumes of the modern era. Collectors chase these top-graded coins fiercely because they represent the absolute highest standard of mint craftsmanship. A 2007 penny in this perfect grade becomes so valuable that it can create shocking news among collectors. But aside from perfect grades, the real firepower behind the massive value spikes comes from errors, spectacular, eye-catching, unmistakable minting errors that instantly transform the identity of the coin. With the 2007 penny, collectors search for doubled dies where letters or designs appear doubled, off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, broad strikes where the collar fails to restrain the metal, wrong planchet errors where the penny is accidentally struck on a dime blank, or even a foreign coin blank, and die breaks where cracks in the die create raised metal shapes on the coin. These era coins can transform a simple modern penny into a museum-class collectible with stories as wild as any treasure hunt. Even more mysterious are the anecdotes that coins like the hypothetical ultra-rare 2007 penny could be worth over $233 million, an absurd figure unless placed in the context of ultra-rare specimens tied to unique provenance, extreme historical significance, or one-of-a-kind minting accidents. While such stories often circulate in exaggerated form, they reflect a deeper truth. In numismatics, a single unique coin, even a penny, can become priceless if it is the only example known. This potential drives interest, drives excitement, and drives collectors to search everywhere from pocket change to old forgotten jars. To understand why collectors obsess over the 2007 penny, one must appreciate how numismatics blends rarity, condition, history, and storytelling into a single market. A coin becomes rare not only when few are made, but when few survive in exceptional preservation. Many 2007 pennies entered circulation immediately upon minting, exposing them to scratches, wear, discoloration, chemical reactions, and degrading conditions. The overwhelming majority of these coins today look worn, dull, or damaged, which means high-grade examples become dramatically scarce. A coin minted in 2007 and somehow preserved for nearly 2 decades without a single scratch, fingerprint, or mark is extraordinary. A flawless coin in MS-70 condition represents survival against the odds. Collectors value these examples not simply because they are old, but because they defy the typical fate of pocket change. The weight of the coin, 2.5 grams, seems insignificant, but it forms a critical part of coin authenticity. Modern pennies switched from solid bronze to zinc cores in 1982, and every genuine 2007 penny must match this precise weight standard. Anything heavier or lighter can indicate an error, a wrong planchet strike, or tampering, and these deviations can turn the coin into a high-value collectible. The 2007 penny's diameter of 19.05 mm and its plain edge complete its physical identity, forming part of the specifications that collectors use to verify authenticity and detect rare variations. The symbol of the coin, the simple 1-cent denomination centered beneath the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, represents more than monetary value. It is a symbol of a long era of American coinage, a representation of Lincoln's enduring presence in U.S. history, and a reminder that even the smallest denomination can carry immense cultural weight. The United States Mint has used the Lincoln portrait longer than any other design in its history, creating a national connection to this humble penny that surpasses its face value 1,000,000 times over. As collectors study the 2007 penny, they also reflect on the historical backdrop of the year 2007. The U.S. economy was approaching the financial crisis, consumer spending patterns were shifting, and the mint was producing billions of pennies each year even though the cost to make them exceeded their face value. This context adds socioeconomic depth to the coin's story. A 1-cent coin that cost more to produce than it was worth, yet still widely circulated, symbolizing the tension between tradition and practicality. Many experts argued for discontinuing the penny, yet its cultural importance and place in American identity kept it alive. What turns the 2007 penny into a potential treasure, however, is not its common form but its exceptional mutations. A doubled die obverse with doubled liberty, a misaligned die clash creating ghostly impressions, a triple strike, a broad strike with expanded rims, or a missing mint mark due to grease fill. These errors elevate the coin into rare territory. Even slight misalignments or anomalies can fetch exponentially high prices from collectors who value uniqueness above all else. When the journey of the 2007 penny moves beyond its physical appearance and steps into the world of collectors, dealers, historians, and passionate coin hunters, the story expands into a landscape far deeper than most people ever imagine. While millions of people have handled the 2007 penny without a second thought, only a small number realize that each one carries a web of possibilities, secrets, and hidden traits that could transform its fate. In the universe of numismatics, a coin is not just metal, it is a living witness to a moment in time, a product shaped by machines, human oversight, minting procedures, and the unpredictable nature of mechanical precision. The 2007 penny becomes a canvas where the smallest microscopic detail can mean the difference between ordinary pocket change and a life-changing fortune. Every collector knows that a modern penny's journey begins long before it reaches the public. It starts deep inside the Denver Mint, where massive coils of zinc sheet are unrolled and punched into round planchets. These small metal discs, plain and unfinished, carry no identity yet. Their weight is controlled with strict precision, 2.5 grams, a perfect standard that reflects decades of minting evolution. But even at this earliest stage, variations can occur. A slightly thick sheet can produce a planchet marginally heavier than usual. A thin sheet can create one that is lighter. A foreign object embedded in the metal can cause a strange bulge or odd surface defect. Collectors obsess over these details because deviations often lead to highly valuable errors. Once the blanks are punched out, they undergo the annealing process, being heated to soften the metal and make it easier to strike. Here, too, unexpected conditions can produce anomalies. Overheated planchets may develop odd colorations or structural weaknesses. Underheated pieces may not strike properly, leading to fascinating partial designs. Even the tumbling process, which smooths the blanks before striking, can leave behind microscopic scratches or unique surface textures that later affect grading. When the planchets reach the striking chamber, the story becomes even more compelling. Dies engraved with Lincoln's bust and the Lincoln Memorial come together with immense pressure, tens of tons, to impact the planchet. In a perfect scenario, each strike produces a clean, sharp, perfectly defined coin. But minting machines, no matter how advanced, are not immune to quirks. Dies can clash, where the obverse and reverse strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions that later transfer onto coins. Dies can crack from exhaustion, creating dramatic raised lines across the coin. Dies can be filled with grease, causing details to appear faint, missing, or distorted. Even the dies themselves can be engraved slightly incorrectly, resulting in doubled dies that collectors fiercely pursue. The 2007 penny, because of its massive production volume, presents endless opportunities for such errors to occur. Billions of strikes mean billions of chances for misalignments, partial strikes, weak strikes, or die deterioration. Most of these flawed coins are caught by mint inspectors, but a surprising number slip into circulation, becoming treasures waiting for discovery. Collectors have documented many unusual 2007 errors: off-center errors, broad strikes, cap die strikes where a planchet becomes stuck to the die, reverse indentations, and even dual planchet strikes where two blanks accidentally overlap during minting. Each of these errors transforms the coin into a one-of-a-kind collectible. But the greatest fascination arises from the possibility of a unique, catastrophic minting error that nobody has ever seen before. Imagine a 2007 penny struck on a foreign metallic planchet not intended for U.S. circulation. Imagine a penny struck over an older coin, creating a bizarre double image of two different dates and designs. Imagine a copper-plated zinc coin struck without copper, appearing silver or zinc white. Even more dramatic are the legendary mule errors, where the obverse of one coin is accidentally paired with the reverse of another. Mule errors are so rare in history that each one becomes instantly famous, often selling for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. This potential for the unexpected is what drives speculation that a 2007 penny could one day be valued at hundreds of millions. While extremely unlikely, numismatic history has repeatedly shown that unique items, especially those tied to government mints, can break every rule of valuation. When an artifact becomes literally one of one, collectors assign value based not on market norms but on emotional, historical, and prestige-based bidding wars. The idea that a small object made of copper-plated zinc could compete in value with paintings, jewels, or famous manuscripts reflects the magical unpredictability of collecting. Beyond mint errors and extreme grades, the 2007 penny also inspires fascination through the lens of cultural memory. Every penny minted during the Lincoln Memorial era carries a reminder of the values Lincoln represented: unity, determination, leadership, and resilience. The memorial reverse symbolized these ideals for nearly half a century. Its columns, steps, and central statue are familiar to millions of Americans. For many people, the Lincoln penny was the first coin they ever held as a child, the first coin saved in a piggy bank, the first coin used for a school project, the first coin used to buy candy or gum. Even though pennies are the lowest denomination, they hold sentimental power far greater than their monetary value. This emotional connection gives modern pennies an unexpected advantage in the collectible world. While older coins naturally attract collectors due to age and scarcity, modern pennies like the 2070 gain value because they symbolize continuity, accessibility, and the shared memory of everyday life. Everyone has seen a penny. Everyone has handled one. Everyone recognizes Lincoln. This universal familiarity subtly elevates the penny's place in American culture. But beneath this cultural symbolism lies an economic paradox. The penny costs more to make than it is worth. By 2007, the cost to produce a single penny exceeded its face value due to rising metal prices, manufacturing expenses, and labor costs. This creates curiosity among collectors, who view modern pennies as artifacts of an inefficient yet deeply rooted tradition. The contradiction between low face value and high production cost adds another layer to the penny's story. It transforms the coin from a simple monetary unit into a symbol of economic debate, historical persistence, and political decision-making. The 2070 penny therefore stands at the intersection of tradition and modernity, efficiency and sentiment, mass production and microscopic rarity. This dual identity is what makes it so captivating to collectors and storytellers. A person who finds a rare 2070 penny in their change discovers more than a valuable object. They uncover a story spanning history, government policy, industrial engineering, and the unpredictable dance between human intention and mechanical accident. As numismatists examine the coin under magnification, they search for specific markers that distinguish ordinary coins from extraordinary ones. The sharpness of Lincoln's hair strands, the clarity of the lettering, the definition of the steps on the Lincoln Memorial, and the presence or absence of tiny die cracks all play a role in determining quality. Even a small scratch invisible to the naked eye can reduce a coin's grade dramatically. This makes high-grade modern coins exceptionally scarce, as any slight imperfection counts against them. Collectors who send their 2070 pennies to grading services face the thrill and anxiety of waiting for the result. A coin expected to grade MS-69 might come back as MS-67, instantly lowering its value. But every once in a while, a coin exceeds expectations, achieving a grade so perfect that it becomes a celebrity among collectors. The deeper one goes into the world of the 2070 penny, the more layers emerge. Layers that are not simply about value but about the intricate dance between chance and precision inside the minting process. Imagine billions of coins rolling off the Denver Mint's presses in 2007, each one a product of industrial rhythm, metal science, and mechanical choreography. Among this sea of copper-plated zinc, each penny begins identical in its specifications, its weight, its alloy composition, its diameter. Yet even in this environment of intense repetition, the slightest shift in timing, pressure, temperature, or alignment can create something unexpected. The 2070 penny becomes a symbol of how tiny deviations can create massive possibilities. To understand this, one must imagine the day-to-day reality of mint workers in 2007. Massive coining presses thundered, striking hundreds of thousands of coins per hour. These presses required constant monitoring. Dies were replaced frequently as they wore down. Planchets were fed in giant quantities. Lubricants, cleaning chemicals, and cooling methods all played critical roles. Even a few seconds of misalignment, or an overlooked die fatigue could lead to a batch of error coins escaping into the wild. Error coins often emerge not from total mechanical failure, but from tiny, unnoticed flaws. Collectors who study the 2070 penny often focus on the concept of die life. Dies are not immortal, they degrade with every strike. At peak sharpness, they produce coins with crisp lettering, intricate details in Lincoln's beard and hair, fine definition of the Lincoln Memorial steps, and sharp fields. As dies wear down, the details grow soft. Once a die reaches the end of its lifespan, the mint replaces it. But sometimes, worn dies continue operating for longer than they should. When that happens, coins can emerge with unusual distortions, mushy letters, flattened relief, blurry details, or faint doubling caused by die fatigue. These subtle variations are part of what makes modern coins so interesting to specialists. As the minting progresses, dies occasionally clash, one die striking against the other without a planchet in between. This creates impressions of the opposite die transferred into each die face. When clashed dies strike new pennies, faint yet mesmerizing shapes appear, traces of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse near Lincoln's neck, ghostly outlines of Lincoln's face on the reverse, unusual curved lines, and shapes that look like shadows. Collectors often spend hours examining coins under magnification searching for these faint, almost spiritual impressions. Another type of error that fascinates collectors is the die crack. As dies age and suffer stress from countless strikes, they sometimes crack, forming thin lines. When a cracked die strikes a penny, a raised line of metal appears along the crack shape. These lines can be small, like a hairline, or huge, stretching across the coin and giving it dramatic character. Some die cracks form shapes that collectors nickname lightning cracks, railroad cracks, dragon tongue cracks, or even cracks that resemble states, animals, or abstract patterns. A die crack on a 2070 penny can transform its identity and make it a prized collectible. Then there are retained cut errors, where a portion of the die breaks off but remains partially attached. This produces raised blobby shapes or missing design sections that look like melting metal. Cuds are extremely popular, and even modern pennies with significant cuds can bring strong prices. A 2070 penny with a large cud covering part of the Lincoln Memorial steps or part of the rim becomes a conversation piece instantly. Beyond cracks and cuds, another dramatic category is the off-center strike. If the planchet does not enter the striking chamber correctly, the dies strike only part of it. The result is a coin with a missing section of design, sometimes with a crescent-shaped blank area. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin, especially if the date remains visible. A 2070 penny struck 60 to 70% off-center with the date present could fetch hundreds or thousands. If such a coin had additional errors layered on top, like a double strike or a rotated die, it could easily become a crown jewel of modern mint errors. Another dramatic minting phenomenon is the struck-through error. This happens when an object or substance gets between the die and the planchet during striking. These objects can include grease, fragments of metal, cloth fibers, wire, or even parts of another coin. A struck-through error can create dramatic shapes, indentations, holes, smears, or unnatural textures. A 2070 penny struck through cloth might show a woven pattern across Lincoln's face. One struck through wire might display a deep groove cutting through the design. Even simple grease strikes, which cause missing or faint details, are sought by collectors. Occasionally, the mint accidentally uses the wrong planchet. When this happens, the coin takes on a bizarre form: too light, too heavy, oversized, undersized, the wrong color, or struck on a foreign coin blank. A 2070 penny struck on a dime planchet appears thinner and silver. Struck on a nickel planchet, it would be thicker and weigh more. Struck on a foreign planchet, it might look like an alien coin, completely unexpected. These wrong planchet errors often bring thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. The most dramatic examples could, theoretically, propel a coin into astronomical valuation territory if no other example exists. But even without dramatic errors, the story of the 2070 penny continues to grow. Collectors think not only about what errors exist but about what errors might exist that nobody has found yet. Billions of coins were minted, and a tiny fraction remain unexamined in boxes, jars, drawers, banks, and circulation. Every year, more people begin looking, searching pocket change for anomalies. As time passes, high-grade survivors become scarcer, errors become harder to find, and discovered coins get absorbed into collections. The known population shrinks. The unknown population becomes a thrilling mystery. Part of what drives excitement is the increasing use of modern tools. Collectors today use digital microscopes, high-resolution cameras, grading services, metallurgical analysis, and detailed online catalogs. They trade information globally within seconds. This technological shift means that the 2007 penny, like all modern coins, has a new life in the digital era. A coin once dismissed as ordinary could now go viral if a collector posts a video of a stunning error. Social media platforms amplified discoveries faster than ever before. A single unusual 2007 penny photographed under magnification could create waves of excitement, sending thousands of collectors searching their coins for similar traits. This digital amplification fuels market speculation. When collectors hear rumors of extreme valuations, hundreds of thousands, millions, or theoretical valuations reaching hundreds of millions for a one-of-a-kind specimen, they begin imagining possibilities. Could a coin with a massive, unprecedented error exist? Could it be buried somewhere in someone's change jar? Could a mint worker accidentally have kept a rare prototype that later slipped into circulation? These what-if questions are part of the thrill of collecting. Even seasoned experts admit that the mint's history includes mistakes, missteps, accidents, and anomalies that nobody anticipated. A coin thought impossible can suddenly appear out of nowhere, rewriting numismatic history. As we continue unfolding the deeper layers of the 2007 Lincoln Memorial Cent, this is where the true fascination begins for collectors and historians alike. Because now we move beyond the surface-level attributes and dive into the unseen journey of how this coin, a simple 1-cent piece minted in 2007, managed to evolve into a numismatic powerhouse in the eyes of the market. The 2007 penny may appear ordinary at first glance, but its story is far from simple. Its transformation from a low-value circulation coin to a shockingly valuable collectible in rare cases, reaching unbelievable market estimates, comes from a combination of minting circumstances, environmental factors, individual handling, error types, material variations, and most importantly, the psychological demand created within collector communities. This part will explore the complex mechanisms behind such a huge value jump, the hidden narratives collectors follow, and the tiny physical details that elevate a seemingly common penny into the category of worth big money. To begin, we must focus on the Denver Mint itself and what makes the mint mark so significant for coins minted in that year. In 2007, the Denver Mint maintained extremely high production numbers, but unlike other years, the variance in quality control was slightly more noticeable due to the massive volume of coins passing through the system every minute. This meant that while the majority of coins produced were of standard quality, a small percentage displayed anomalies. These anomalies, often microscopic at first, are what later developed into some of the most desirable varieties among collectors. Whether it was a slight misalignment of the die, a tiny imperfection in the plating process, a faint doubling on certain letters, or even subtle mechanical deterioration of the minting dies, all these factors played a crucial role in creating rare pieces that would later skyrocket in value. The 2007 penny became a perfect example of how large-scale mintage combined with scattered quality inconsistencies could produce hidden, valuable treasures mixed among billions. Another intriguing aspect lies in the transition from copper-based coins to the predominantly zinc core coins. By 2007, the composition had long shifted to a zinc core coated with copper, which introduced its own set of complications. Zinc is a far more reactive metal than copper, and over time it tends to deteriorate faster if exposed to moisture or certain environmental conditions. This means that finding a 2007 penny in near-perfect condition is much harder than one might expect. Even though billions were minted, time has not been kind to them. Many have suffered surface bubbling, pitting, corrosion, or copper plating separation. So when a pristine, untouched, and perfectly preserved example appears, collectors immediately see it as a prize. The scarcity of high-grade survivors naturally drives up the value, creating a sense of rarity within a population that seems abundant on the surface. Digging even deeper, we encounter the phenomenon of error coins. The 2007 penny has been associated with several notable errors that have attracted both seasoned and new collectors. These include off-center strikes, die clashes, broad strikes, die breaks or cuds, extra metal protrusions, plating blisters, doubled dies, and weak strikes. Each era carries its own level of desirability, but what makes them even more sought after is the fact that they exist on a modern coin where error frequency was expected to be low due to advanced minting technology. This contradiction, where a modern technological mint still produced flawed pieces, makes each era coin feel like a lucky discovery. When an error is both dramatic and visually pleasing, such as a sharply off-center strike or a bold die crack, it becomes a highlight in any collection, prompting collectors to pay extraordinary amounts. This dynamic is part of what gives rise to the shocking prices you sometimes see for coins like the 2007 cent. Now let's turn to the market dynamics that give a simple penny the ability to reach absurd numbers. In many cases, a coin's worth is driven not only by what it physically is, but by what people believe it represents. Collector interest can turn a regular object into a prized artifact simply because of narrative power. For example, a standout coin with perfect luster and no visible flaws creates the perception of rarity, even when many exist. The perception alone drives competition, and competition pushes prices upward. In the case of the 2007 penny, the value surge often comes from slabbed coins graded by top-tier companies like PCGS or NGC. Once a coin receives a high MS67, MS68, or extremely rare MS69 grade, the psychological value multiplies. A high-grade certification transforms the coin from an everyday object into a recognized elite specimen. This elevation increases market confidence, which increases demand, which in turn increases price. Collectors also respond strongly to stories of people finding rare coins in pocket change, in old jars, in inherited coin rolls, or in bank-wrapped rolls. These discovery stories create excitement and motivate others to search as well. When one collector finds a 2007 era penny worth hundreds or thousands, it triggers a chain reaction. More collectors search, more videos are made, more attention floods in, and the coin's reputation grows even larger. This is arguably one of the most powerful psychological drivers of value. The moment a coin earns a reputation for surprising people with unexpected wealth, its desirability skyrockets, sometimes reaching unrealistic or exaggerated levels. This is how market legends begin, and the 2007 penny has slowly carved out its place within this pattern. Another factor boosting the value of certain 2007 pennies is the wide range of growing interest from global collectors. American coins have always been popular around the world, and modern pennies with unusual qualities have attracted buyers from Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Online marketplaces have amplified this demand even further. Now, a single rare penny can be seen by millions worldwide within hours. This cross-border exposure increases competition and drives prices higher. Suddenly, a coin that would have sold for $50 locally can spark a bidding war online and reach thousands. Some listings even quote astronomical values, like the $233 million figure often mentioned in viral discussions, not because the coin is realistically expected to sell for that amount, but because such exaggerated numbers attract attention and fuel myths. While these extreme values may not reflect true auction outcomes, they do contribute to the cultural aura surrounding the coin. Furthermore, the design of the 2007 penny plays a subtle but powerful role. The Lincoln Memorial reverse, nearing the end of its long run before being replaced in 2009, holds nostalgic significance. Collectors often seek the final years of a design series, knowing they represent the closing of an era. The 2007 issue falls within this emotional window, giving it added sentimental value. And the obverse, bearing Victor D. Brenner's timeless portrait of Lincoln, remains one of the most recognized coin designs in the world. This familiarity reinforces the coin's status as an American icon, making even its later versions attractive for people who love numismatic history. All these layers, minting anomalies, error types, environmental degradation, global demand, nostalgia, collector psychology, and digital amplification, merge together to create a perfect storm where a humble copper-plated zinc penny suddenly becomes a superstar. And we have only scratched the surface of how deeply these elements interact. As we continue into the next part, we will go even further, dissecting how individual collectors analyze surfaces, evaluate luster, interpret strike quality, and assign value based on dozens of microscopic details that most people would never notice. As we continue the deep exploration of the 2007 Lincoln Memorial Cent, we now move into the world that truly defines the coin's long-term desirability, the microscopic universe of numismatic grading, physical condition analysis, strike sharpness evaluation, surface preservation, metal integrity, and the nuanced imperfections that separate an ordinary penny from one that collectors might chase for years. This part focuses on the physical and visual aspects of the 2007 penny that elevate a coin's status and fuel the stories of unbelievable values, sometimes reaching into six figures, and exaggerated claims reaching as high as $233 million, which, though unrealistic in real markets, still contribute to the myth and magnetism surrounding rare high-condition pieces. To understand why certain examples of the 2007 penny become ultra-valuable, we must begin with the coin's luster. Luster is the way light reflects off the coin's surface after it leaves the minting press. For the 2007 penny, the luster can vary widely depending on strike pressure, die condition, cleanliness of the planchet, and the speed of production. High-quality examples exhibit a strong cartwheel effect, where light spins across the surface as the coin is tilted. This luminous quality is extremely important to collectors. A coin with flawless or booming luster immediately stands out, even before magnification. Because of its copper-plated zinc composition, maintaining strong luster without spots, stains, or dulling over the years is extremely rare. Most 2007 pennies lose brilliance quickly. But those few, perfectly preserved, untouched specimens are the ones that end up breaking expectations, and sometimes records. Next, we dive into strike sharpness. The strike refers to how clearly the details were impressed into the coin during the minting process. For the 2007 penny, several microscopic details are used to evaluate strike quality. These include the sharpness of Lincoln's beard, the clarity of the bow tie, the sharp definition of the ear, the crispness of the lettering, and the full visibility of the lines at the base of the Lincoln Memorial. On many coins, these features appear weak or slightly mushy due to die wear or slightly reduced striking pressure. But when a coin displays a full, deep, razor-sharp strike, collectors take immediate notice. A perfect strike combined with untouched surfaces is a very rare combination, and rarity is the strongest driver of high value in the modern coin market. The next critical element involves surface preservation and contact marks. Most 2007 pennies, even those never circulated, still pick up tiny nicks, scratches, or abrasions during bagging, transportation, and rolling at the mint. Even a tiny tick can drop the coin's grade from a potential MS67 to MS66 or MS65, which drastically reduces the value. For a coin to reach elite grades like MS68 or MS69, the surfaces must be almost flawless under 5x or 10x magnification. No major hits, no distracting marks, no dulling, no spotting, and no plating bubbles. Achieving this level of perfection on a zinc-based coin is incredibly difficult because the plating process and the softness of zinc naturally lead to imperfections. That is why a flawless or near-flawless 2007 penny becomes such a numismatic prize. Another fascinating layer involves toning. Toning occurs when the coin's copper plating chemically reacts with the environment over time, producing colors like red, brown, magenta, violet, blue, gold, or rainbow patterns. Naturally occurring rainbow toning on a modern penny is extremely rare, and when collectors find such pieces, the value skyrockets. Toning can make a standard penny worth many multiples of its base value. A beautifully toned 2007 penny with smooth gradients and no spotting can become the centerpiece of a collection. Collectors love visually stunning coins, and the more unique the toning pattern, the stronger the demand. In some cases, artistic toning has led to record-breaking sales because such coins appeal to both traditional collectors and artistic collectors, doubling the pool of potential buyers. Now we shift our focus to the diagnostic markers that experts and grading companies use to determine value. These include die polishing lines, flow lines, minor die cracks, and faint doubling on the date or lettering. For example, The 2070 penny has been found with light doubling in areas like Liberty, the date 2007, and occasionally in God We Trust. While minor doubling may not be considered a full double die variety, it still adds interest and desirability. Die cracks, especially those that form visible cuds or raised lumps of metal along the rim or design elements, are also desirable. They indicate the die was near failure, making such pieces much rarer than regular strikes. Collectors often chase these distinctive characteristics because they reflect unique moments in the minting process. Error varieties also continue to play a major role in the value of the 2007 penny. Off-center strikes remain among the most popular. The degree of off-centering determines the desirability. Coins with 50% or more off-center, while still showing the date and mint mark, can command huge premiums. Then we have die clashes, where the reverse design faintly appears on the obverse or vice versa. These are especially interesting because they capture a moment when the minting dies struck each other without a planchet in between. Such errors turn a standard penny into a highly collectible piece of minting history. Broad strikes and partial collar errors are also noteworthy. These occur when the coin is struck without the restraining collar, causing the metal to spread outward unnaturally. The resulting shape is very different from a normal penny, and collectors prize such pieces for their dramatic appearance. Even more dramatic are struck through errors, where foreign materials like grease, cloth fibers, wire, or fragments get pressed into the coin's surface during striking. These create bizarre shapes and textures that make each coin visually unique, sometimes resembling tears, dents, or streaks across the design. Such one-of-a-kind errors create immense collector demand. As we continue exploring the 2007 Lincoln Memorial penny, the focus now shifts to the sophisticated grading system, which serves as the backbone of numismatic valuation and directly impacts why some pennies, despite being modern and seemingly ordinary, can command extraordinary attention and prices. Understanding grading is essential because the perceived value of a coin is often far more influenced by its grade than by its date, mint mark, or even its rarity alone. For the 2070 penny, grading serves as a measure of perfection, preservation, strike quality, surface integrity, luster, and sometimes error detection. Each of these factors adds layers to the narrative of value, which can transform a common circulation coin into a collector's trophy or, in theoretical scenarios, an object of extreme monetary speculation. The grading scale used by the American Numismatic Association, ANA, and major professional services such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, ranges from 1 to 70, with MS, Mint State, designations starting at MS 60 and running to MS 70. For the 2070 penny, the vast majority fall into the lower MS 60, MS 63 category if preserved in bags or rolls but never circulated. Only a tiny fraction survive in near-perfect condition, MS 67 and above, with full original luster, razor-sharp strike, flawless surfaces, and no visible contact marks. It is within this extremely small percentage that the 2007 penny truly becomes extraordinary. Collectors often pay a premium of 5 to 10 times the base value simply for MS 67 coins over MS 65, reflecting the exponential increase in rarity at higher grades. Surface preservation plays a pivotal role in grading. Modern pennies are particularly prone to damage because of their zinc cores, which react to moisture, temperature variations, and handling. Even subtle contact with another coin during bagging or rolling can leave bag marks or faint scratches. Exposure to oils, dirt, or chemicals accelerates corrosion, pitting, or dulling. A 2007 penny surviving in MS 68 condition with untouched surfaces is an extreme rarity precisely because it evaded every potential hazard from the moment it left the mint. High-quality examples like this are so scarce that they are immediately recognized as premium collectibles by grading companies and private collectors alike. Luster is another critical factor in grading and market desirability. On a 2007 penny, luster is created during the striking process, when metal flows into die recesses and reflects light across the coin's surface. Original mint luster is lost rapidly with handling or exposure, making preserved specimens particularly valuable. Coins graded MS-70, which exhibit flawless luster and strike, are exceptionally rare for modern copper-plated zinc pennies. These coins are often slabbed, sealed in hard plastic holders with official grades to preserve authenticity and ensure buyer confidence. Once slabbed, the 2007 penny enters a global market where its grade becomes the defining metric for valuation. Era coins introduce a separate dimension to value. Collectors understand that even minor anomalies on the 2007 penny can dramatically increase desirability. Double dies, off-center strikes, die clashes, broad strikes, partial collars, and plated errors are all catalogued and studied extensively. Among these, double dies are particularly coveted. A faint doubling on letters like Liberty or numbers in 2007 can signal a die misalignment during striking. Collectors love these variations because they are naturally occurring, verifiable, and unique, often existing in tiny populations. Off-center strikes are another strikingly dramatic error type. A 30% off-center strike might be moderately valuable, but a coin struck 60 to 70% off-center, where the date and mint mark remain visible, becomes a showpiece with rarity and aesthetic appeal. Broad strike errors, where the coin expands beyond its normal diameter due to a missing collar during striking, add visual drama. These coins appear stretched and misshapen yet are perfectly struck, often exhibiting the full design but with a distorted rim. Struck-through errors, where a foreign object such as grease, cloth, wire, or debris interrupts the striking process, can produce coins with bizarre surface textures or depressions, making each specimen a one-of-a-kind. Collectors love these coins because they capture a moment when the precision of industrial machinery met the randomness of chance. The Denver Mint's production techniques in 2007 also contributed to subtle variations that collectors seek. Slight differences in die polish, strike pressure, planchet thickness, and copper plating consistency created a range of coins with minor but detectable differences. Some coins show faint doubling due to die movement, others have extra metal lines called die cracks, and a few may even have partially missing plating or unusual coloration due to copper/zinc interactions. While these variations may seem insignificant to casual observers, they are the lifeblood of serious numismatic study. Market perception plays a key role in value beyond physical attributes. A 2007 penny slabbed as MS-69 or higher immediately enters the elite modern coin market. Collectors recognize it as a rare survivor in perfect condition, and its desirability is amplified by narratives surrounding potential errors, extreme rarity, and uncirculated preservation. Stories of rare finds, someone discovering a high-grade penny in a decades-old jar, or a misstruck error penny in circulation, create a feedback loop of demand. Every new discovery generates more interest, more search activity, and a stronger market for similarly preserved examples. Digital platforms have magnified these effects. Online auctions, collector forums, social media groups, and video channels allow instant sharing of images, grades, and sale prices. A single post of a flawless 2007 penny can trigger global excitement, creating bidding wars that push prices far above typical market expectations. This transparency also allows collectors to compare examples side by side, analyze strike quality, luster, and error potential, and track population reports from grading companies to assess rarity. A hidden aspect of value is the coin's narrative and historical context. The 2007 penny represents one of the final years of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, which would be replaced in 2009 by the Union Shield design. This positions the coin at a historical crossroads, a transitional piece that carries the legacy of a decades-long design while existing in the modern minting era. Collectors are drawn to transitional years because they symbolize the end of an era, creating both sentimental and financial value. Finally, let's consider the speculative extreme. Why some discussions of the 2007 penny include hypothetical values of $233 million. While no penny has ever sold for such a sum, this figure illustrates the psychological ceiling of a truly unique, one-of-a-kind coin. In the numismatic world, coins like the 1933 double eagle or rare patterned coins have broken auction records, fetching tens of millions. The hypothetical valuation assumes a scenario where a 2007 penny with an unprecedented error, perfect MS-70 surfaces, flawless luster, dramatic strike anomalies, and historical provenance becomes the only known specimen in existence. Under these conditions, the coin enters the domain of ultra-rare collectibles whose value is determined more by exclusivity, narrative, and collector desire than by standard market pricing. The 2007 penny thus exists at multiple layers of value simultaneously. On one level, it is an everyday object, produced in the billions, worth exactly 1 cent in circulation. On another level, it is a collectible, with graded, high-luster specimens worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. On a speculative narrative level, it becomes a symbol of the extreme possibilities in numismatics, where human desire, historical significance, and industrial anomaly converge, creating legends that stretch imagination and market potential. Continuing the journey into the remarkable narrative of the 2007 Lincoln Memorial Penny, we now enter the realm where collector psychology, historical context, market trends, and numismatic fascination all intersect. At first glance, the penny seems ordinary, an everyday coin carried in wallets, dropped into parking meters, or jumbled with loose change. But once you begin to examine its microscopic details, its subtle imperfections, and its production history, the coin reveals a depth few imagine. Understanding why collectors place extraordinary value on this coin requires not only an appreciation for minting processes and grading but also a grasp of human behavior, market dynamics, and the allure of rarity. Collector psychology is one of the most powerful forces shaping the value of the 2007 penny. People are drawn to objects that are rare, visually appealing, historically significant, or mysterious. A pristine MS-69 or MS-70 penny represents perfection. When collectors realize that only a fraction of billions minted survive in such condition, desire intensifies. Human beings are wired to covet things that are scarce. Even minor differences in strike sharpness, surface texture, or luster can trigger this instinct. The anticipation of discovering a coin that exceeds all expectations adds emotional weight to the financial value. A 2007 penny with flawless luster, razor-sharp relief, and no visible contact marks becomes more than a coin. It becomes a trophy, a tangible achievement, and a symbol of success in the pursuit of numismatic excellence. Historical context also plays a major role in shaping the penny's appeal. The Lincoln Memorial Reverse, designed by Frank Sparrow, had graced the cent since 1959, making it a familiar symbol for generations. By 2007, the reverse was nearing the end of its production life, to be replaced in 2009 by the Union Shield design. Collectors place significant value on coins produced in transitional periods because they capture a moment in history. The 2007 penny represents one of the final expressions of a design deeply ingrained in American culture. This historical significance combines with physical rarity to create a narrative that elevates the coin far above its monetary denomination. Market trends further amplify the perceived value of high-grade or error 2007 pennies. With the advent of digital platforms, coins can be marketed globally in seconds. A single MS-70 penny or dramatic error coin can be posted on social media, collector forums, or online auction houses and instantly reach tens of thousands of potential buyers. This exposure creates competition, driving up prices exponentially. For example, a visually striking off-center strike or broad strike may start with a modest estimate, but with multiple collectors bidding, the price can escalate far beyond expectations. The internet has fundamentally shifted the numismatic market, turning once local searches into global treasure hunts. Errors and anomalies form another layer of fascination. While billions of 2007 pennies were produced with precision, the scale of production ensures that mistakes inevitably occur. These errors are often subtle, minor die cracks, faint doubling on liberty, or the date, slight off-center strikes, or small areas of missing plating. Yet in rare cases, the anomalies can be dramatic: large off-center strikes, double strikes, broad strikes, or coins struck through foreign debris. Each era represents a unique moment in time, a brief intersection of human oversight and machine imperfection. Collectors treasure these coins because they are finite. No two are exactly alike. In the modern penny series, such dramatic errors are far less common than in older series, which heightens their allure. Another factor contributing to value is the interplay between grading and visual appeal. A coin with a high numerical grade but poor eye appeal may sell for less than a lower grade coin that displays exceptional aesthetics. Collectors prioritize coins that combine perfection with beauty. For the 2070 penny, eye appeal encompasses full original luster, vivid color, absence of toning or spots that detract from the surface, and a sharp, balanced strike. Even tiny imperfections that are invisible to casual observers can reduce value, while a coin that appears flawless under magnification and in natural light can fetch extraordinary prices. In some instances, a visually stunning MS-68 coin with dramatic luster may be more coveted than a technically perfect MS-70 with dull surfaces. This underscores the subjectivity in numismatic valuation. Human perception plays a critical role alongside technical grading. The zinc core and copper plating of the 2007 penny introduce unique preservation challenges that make pristine examples rare. Zinc is soft and susceptible to corrosion, while the thin copper plating can peel, blister, or discolor. Many coins from 2007 show early signs of environmental wear, contact marks, or minor plating flaws. Thus, a coin surviving in near-perfect condition becomes a remarkable survivor. The combination of material vulnerability and high circulation potential enhances scarcity. Even modern coins, which are generally mass-produced and abundant, can have subsets of extremely rare specimens due to careful storage, minimal handling, or sheer luck. Global demand has also elevated the penny's profile. While U.S. collectors historically dominated the market, modern platforms allow international buyers to participate in auctions and private sales. Coins like the 2007 penny attract interest from Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. High-grade, flawless examples or dramatic errors appeal to both experienced numismatists and new collectors seeking investment potential or aesthetic value. This broader buyer pool magnifies market pressure, often leading to price spikes that would have been unimaginable a few decades ago. The narrative surrounding a coin further enhances its value. Stories of accidental discoveries, finding a near-perfect or error penny in a decades-old jar, inherited collection, or random change, add intrigue. Collectors love tales of luck and mystery, where an ordinary person suddenly uncovers a treasure. These stories are shared widely in forums, social media, and videos, building the legend of the coin. A 2007 penny with dramatic error features or exceptional preservation can instantly become famous within numismatic circles, increasing both monetary and symbolic value. Speculation about extreme valuations, including figures like $233 million, arises from the combination of rarity, uniqueness, narrative, and human desire for the impossible. While no modern penny has actually sold for such sums, imagining a one-of-one error specimen with flawless surfaces, perfect strike, dramatic die anomalies, and historical significance captures collector imagination. Numismatic history has precedent for seemingly impossible valuations. Coins like the 1933 Double Eagle or unique patterned coins have achieved tens of millions at auction. A theoretically perfect 2007 penny could enter the same speculative space, not because of intrinsic value, but because rarity, uniqueness, and collector demand create perceived worth beyond reason. Another key component is the study of die varieties and minor differences between coins. Die polishing lines, faint doubling, subtle die cracks, and minute variations in strike depth all contribute to collectible interest. For 2070 pennies, researchers meticulously catalog these differences, often producing population reports that track how many examples of each variety are known to exist. When a coin belongs to a tiny population, especially a one-of-a-kind specimen with unique features, collectors immediately recognize its premium potential. These analytical methods demonstrate the rigorous, almost scientific approach collectors take in evaluating modern pennies. Finally, The ongoing excitement stems from the uncharted potential within billions of coins still in circulation or in private hands. Every roll opened by a collector, every jar examined, every bank box searched could produce an extraordinary find. The 2007 penny represents hope and possibility. A seemingly mundane object might hide a dramatic story. This universal allure, the dream of discovery, the thrill of rarity, and the tangible connection to history, fuels fascination, drives global markets, and ensures that the coin will remain a compelling focus for collectors for decades to come. As we continue delving into the rich world of the 2007 Lincoln Memorial Penny, it becomes clear that the coin's story is far more intricate than the simple 1-cent denomination suggests. What makes this penny remarkable is not just its physical attributes or minting errors, but the complex interplay between rarity, human psychology, market forces, historical significance, and numismatic study. By the time collectors recognize these factors, the 2007 penny evolves from a mundane object into a symbol of potential fortune, intrigue, and historical value. At the heart of this narrative is the coin's composition and how it affects both preservation and value. The 2007 penny is composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating. While this composition reduces production costs and preserves the coin's iconic copper appearance, it also introduces unique vulnerabilities. Zinc is a soft and reactive metal, prone to corrosion, pitting, and deformation under environmental stress. The thin copper plating can separate, peel, or blister over time, leaving the underlying zinc exposed. Collectors seeking high-grade coins must therefore navigate a landscape where flawless preservation is exceedingly rare. A 2007 penny that has maintained perfect surfaces, full luster, and strike sharpness for over a decade is a remarkable survivor, highlighting both the coin's resilience and the fortuitous circumstances of its preservation. The importance of strike quality cannot be overstated. Strike refers to how fully the design was impressed into the coin during minting. On a 2007 penny, strike sharpness can be observed in the fine details of Lincoln's beard, the crispness of the letters in Liberty, the definition of the date 2007, the depth and clarity of the Lincoln Memorial columns, and the interior statue detail. Coins struck with full strength show these elements clearly, while weak strikes may appear soft or slightly blurred. High-grade coins combine perfect strike with flawless surfaces, a rare combination given the high-speed minting processes and massive production volume in 2007. The few coins achieving this standard become instant collectibles, sought after for their visual perfection and rarity. Surface preservation and luster are equally critical. Original mint luster, the reflective sheen resulting from the metal flow during striking, is one of the most prized features in a coin. On copper-plated zinc pennies, luster diminishes rapidly with handling, exposure to air, moisture, or contact with other coins. Coins with intact, brilliant luster are extraordinarily rare, particularly in MS-67 or higher grades. The visual appeal of such coins, often described as having a cartwheel effect when tilted, enhances their market desirability. A 2007 penny with vivid luster and no blemishes is more than a coin. It is a visual artifact representing perfection in minting and preservation. Errors and varieties form another dimension of collectability. Even with modern minting techniques, mistakes occur. Minor die cracks, faint doubling, partial off-center strikes, and slight plating anomalies are relatively common. But dramatic errors, such as 60 to 70% off-center strikes, broad strikes, double strikes, cuds, and struck-through debris errors, are exceedingly rare and highly sought after. Each error represents a snapshot of the minting process, a moment when precision and chance intersected to produce something extraordinary. Collectors prize these coins not only for their rarity but also for the story they tell, how billions of coins were produced and yet only a few deviated from perfection in visually fascinating ways. The psychology of rarity magnifies value. Human desire is wired to seek unique, scarce objects. In a collection of billions, the few surviving coins with flawless surfaces, rare errors, or striking toning stand out immediately. Once identified, these coins generate excitement, competition, and often aggressive bidding in the marketplace. This dynamic explains why some 2070 pennies, despite being modern, achieve values far beyond their face value. Perceived rarity often has as much impact as actual scarcity, especially when collectors are aware that few examples survive in exceptional condition or with dramatic errors. Market mechanisms further influence the coin's valuation. The proliferation of online marketplaces, auction platforms, social media, and coin forums has transformed how collectors buy, sell, and value coins. A single remarkable 2070 penny posted online can reach thousands of potential buyers globally, sparking interest and bidding wars. Social media amplifies narrative. The story of a high-grade or rare penny can go viral, creating perception-driven demand. Even modern coins can reach extraordinary prices when scarcity, aesthetics, and narrative converge. Digital platforms have effectively globalized the collector base, allowing extreme valuations to enter public consciousness and inspiring new collectors to search for similarly rare coins. Historical context also contributes to perceived value. The 2070 penny represents one of the final years of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, a design that began in 1959. By 2009, the reverse was replaced with the Union Shield design, marking the end of an era. Collectors value coins that come from transitional periods or final production years, as they symbolize a moment in history. A 2070 penny is therefore more than currency. It is a historical artifact representing the final chapters of a familiar and iconic design, enhancing both its sentimental and financial worth. The interplay between grading, eye appeal, and rarity further shapes market behavior. Coins graded MS67 or MS68 by professional services like PCGS or NGC instantly command premium interest. MS69 or MS70 examples, especially with exceptional luster, strike, and absence of contact marks, are often considered the holy grail among modern collectors. Grading provides verification, confidence, and market legitimacy, allowing coins to reach a global audience with established trust. It is important to note that eye appeal can outweigh numerical grading. A visually stunning coin with slightly lower numerical grade may be more desirable than a technically perfect coin with poor aesthetics. For the 2070 penny, combining flawless surfaces, full luster, razor-sharp strike, and dramatic error or variety features is exceedingly rare, making these coins the pinnacle of desirability. The zinc core and copper plating also influence long-term preservation and valuation. Zinc's susceptibility to corrosion, combined with the thinness of copper plating, means most coins experience early deterioration if exposed to adverse conditions. This factor dramatically limits the number of high-grade survivors, enhancing scarcity. Collectors actively search through circulation, inherited collections, and bank rolls, hoping to discover these rare survivors. Each find carries excitement and potential monetary reward, reinforcing the coin's status as a collectible treasure. Speculation around extreme valuations, including the oft-mentioned $233 million, underscores the fascination with uniqueness, rarity, and market psychology. While such numbers are hyperbolic, they illustrate how collectors imagine theoretical scenarios. A one-of-a-kind, error-laden, perfectly preserved 2070 penny entering the market could attract immense attention. Numismatic history provides precedent. Coins like the 1933 Double Eagle and unique pattern coins have sold for tens of millions due to rarity, historical significance, and collector competition. The legend of the 2070 penny exists in part because collectors understand that even modern coins can occasionally produce extraordinary specimens capable of achieving legendary status. As we move deeper into the fascinating story of the 2070 Lincoln Memorial penny, we now examine the broader implications of collecting, market dynamics, and the cultural significance of a coin that many initially consider ordinary. What distinguishes this penny is not just its composition or minting characteristics, but the complex interplay between rarity, human perception, numismatic study, and the almost mythical narratives that emerge in the collector community. In this part, we focus on engagement, how collectors interact with the 2070 penny, the excitement of discovery, and the social and psychological forces that give modern coins a value far beyond their face denomination. One of the most compelling aspects of collecting modern pennies, including the 2007D, is the thrill of discovery. Even though billions of these coins were minted, the sheer number of surviving, high-grade, or error coins is limited. Collectors routinely search through bank rolls, inherited jars, coin collections, and even everyday circulation, hoping to stumble upon a perfect specimen or a dramatic error. This sense of possibility, an ordinary coin transforming into a treasure, fuels engagement and motivates collectors to spend hours examining coins. Modern tools such as magnifying glasses, digital microscopes, and high-resolution cameras allow enthusiasts to detect faint doubling, minor die cracks, off-center strikes, or unusual toning that might otherwise go unnoticed. Each discovery carries a narrative, a chance encounter that links the collector to minting history and, potentially, to significant monetary reward. Collector engagement is further amplified by grading and authentication services. Once a 2070 penny is evaluated by PCGS, NGC, or ANAX, it gains formal legitimacy. Slabbing, the process of encapsulating the coin in a protective holder with a grade, seals the coin's story and ensures authenticity. This certification allows coins to be traded globally with confidence, reaching audiences far beyond local communities. High-grade slabs, particularly MS67, MS68, MS69, or MS70 examples, generate excitement because they represent rare survivors of mass production. Collectors view these coins not only as currency but as achievements in preservation and stewardship. The act of securing a rare, perfectly preserved 2070 penny becomes a personal milestone, providing social status, bragging rights, and a tangible connection to history. The digital age has also revolutionized engagement. Online platforms, auction sites, social media groups, and forums allow collectors to share discoveries, verify varieties, discuss errors, and compete for scarce coins. A single high-grade or error 2070 penny posted online can spark worldwide interest in minutes. Viral videos showcasing off-center strikes, doubled dies, or extraordinary luster create rapid awareness and inspire others to search for similar coins. This global connectivity accelerates the spread of information, enhances market activity, and heightens perceived rarity, which in turn increases demand. Collectors now participate in a living, dynamic marketplace where excitement and competition drive valuation. Error coins are particularly central to collector engagement. Minor die cracks, faint doubling, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and struck-through anomalies are studied meticulously. Each type of error provides a story about the minting process. For example, a faint die crack represents the stress endured by the minting die before eventual replacement, while a doubled die indicates slight movement of the die during striking. Dramatic errors, such as a 60 to 70% off-center strike or a broad strike with full design distortion, create visually striking coins that attract attention beyond traditional numismatic circles. Collectors not only acquire these coins but also share detailed images and analyses, creating a communal appreciation for the complexity of coin production. The role of narrative cannot be overstated. Stories of coins discovered in decades-old jars, inherited from grandparents, or found in random circulation add excitement to the collecting process. These stories humanize the coins, linking them to real-world experiences and historical continuity. For the 2070 penny, the narrative often includes the notion that a seemingly ordinary coin could harbor extraordinary qualities, perfect surfaces, rare errors, or dramatic toning. These narratives fuel both emotional attachment and speculative interest, reinforcing the coin's symbolic and financial value. Speculative valuation is another layer of engagement. While a 2070 penny rarely reaches astronomical figures in real auctions, discussions about extreme hypothetical values, sometimes cited as high as $233 million, capture imagination. Such figures are not based on typical market behavior but illustrate the theoretical ceiling for a unique, one-of-a-kind coin with perfect MS70 surfaces, dramatic errors, flawless luster, and historical significance. These conversations engage collectors, investors, and enthusiasts alike, stimulating searches, debates, and analyses. Even exaggerated valuations contribute to the coin's lore, sustaining interest and encouraging exploration. Engagement is also shaped by the coin's historical context. The 2070 penny is part of the final years of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, a design that began in 1959. Collectors value coins from transitional periods because they mark the end of an era and symbolize historical continuity. This historical significance, combined with rarity, errors, and visual appeal, deepens collector fascination. Each coin embodies a link between the minting past and the present, offering collectors a tangible connection to history and culture. The collector's experience is further enhanced by the tangible nature of coins. Unlike digital assets, the 2070 penny can be held, examined under magnification, and physically appreciated. Every microscopic detail, metal flow lines, die polish marks, luster direction, and edge definition, can be observed directly. This tactile engagement reinforces emotional attachment and encourages repeated study. Collectors often describe a sense of discovery when they identify faint anomalies or subtle imperfections invisible to the untrained eye. This hands-on experience deepens appreciation, creating a multisensory connection to both the coin and its story. In conclusion, the 2070 penny is more than a coin. It is an object of engagement, a narrative vessel, and a symbol of both historical continuity and speculative possibility. Collector psychology, global connectivity, grading certification, era study, and narrative storytelling combine to make this seemingly mundane penny a focal point for fascination. The thrill of discovery, the excitement of validation, the satisfaction of ownership, and the allure of potential rarity sustain ongoing interest in the coin. Each collector who finds, studies, or shares a remarkable 2070 penny contributes to the living legacy of this modern American coin, ensuring that its story will continue to evolve and captivate for decades to come. As we reach the conclusion of our in-depth exploration of the 2070 Lincoln Memorial penny, it is clear that this small, seemingly ordinary coin holds a depth of history, rarity, and intrigue that few everyday objects can match. Over the course of this journey, we have examined every aspect of the coin, from its minting details, composition, and die characteristics to grading, era varieties, collector psychology, market dynamics, and the narratives that elevate it from a simple 1-cent piece to a numismatic treasure in the eyes of enthusiasts worldwide. The 2070 penny is a perfect example of how modern coins, when carefully preserved or uniquely misstruck, can achieve levels of desirability and value that surpass their original face worth by hundreds, thousands, or even millions of times in the imagination of collectors. From a technical standpoint, the coin's physical attributes are fascinating. The Denver Mint produced billions of pennies in 2007, yet only a tiny fraction survive in pristine, MS67 or higher condition. These high-grade examples exhibit perfect luster, razor-sharp strike, flawless surfaces, and often dramatic visual appeal. The combination of a zinc core with copper plating introduces both opportunities and challenges. While the thin copper coating gives the penny its classic color, it also makes perfect preservation difficult. As a result, surviving high-grade specimens are rare and highly coveted, creating scarcity that fuels both real and speculative value. Era coins further enhance the allure. Whether faint doubling, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, cuds, or struck through debris, each anomaly tells a story of chance intersecting with precision minting. These coins are not merely objects, they are artifacts capturing a moment in the production process that cannot be exactly replicated. Collectors prize these examples for their uniqueness and visual drama, often competing fiercely to secure them. The presence of such errors on a modern penny like the 2007D adds layers of fascination, turning an ordinary coin into a collectible that is studied, analyzed, and shared within the global numismatic community. Collector psychology and engagement play a crucial role in the coin's narrative. The excitement of discovery, whether in rolls, jars, inherited collections, or circulation, fuels human fascination. Grading by professional services provides legitimacy and confidence, allowing collectors to trust and verify rarity. Social media, forums, and online auctions amplify visibility, turning individual discoveries into global events. These dynamics, combined with narrative storytelling, speculative discussion, and historical significance, create a perpetual cycle of interest, ensuring that the 2007 penny continues to captivate collectors worldwide. The coin's historical context adds additional depth. The 2007 penny represents one of the final years of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, connecting modern collectors with a design that began in 1959. This transitional position imbues the coin with nostalgia and significance, emphasizing continuity in American history while marking the approach of change. Collectors understand the value of transitional coins, both sentimentally and financially, and this contextual layer enhances the coin's desirability beyond technical attributes alone. Speculative valuations, while often exaggerated in viral discussions, demonstrate the power of rarity, uniqueness, and imagination. Figures like $233 million may never be realized in practice, but they reflect the narrative potential of a perfectly preserved, dramatically era-laden, and historically significant specimen. The coin's legend exists not only in tangible markets but also in stories, videos, and collector culture, reinforcing its status as a modern numismatic icon. Ultimately, the 2007 Lincoln Memorial penny exemplifies how even the most common objects can transcend their original purpose. From circulation coin to collector's treasure, it embodies a rich convergence of history, design, rarity, human desire, and narrative. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist, a casual collector, or simply someone intrigued by the potential hidden in everyday objects, the 2007 penny offers a window into the extraordinary world of coins, a world where patience, observation, knowledge, and a bit of luck can transform a small piece of metal into a story worth telling for generations. In the end, this penny reminds us that value is not always intrinsic. Sometimes it is shaped by perception, context, history, and human imagination. It is a testament to the enduring fascination with coins, the thrill of discovery, and the boundless curiosity that drives collectors to explore, study, and celebrate even the tiniest artifacts of our past and present. The 2007 penny, with all its subtle complexities, errors, and stories, stands as a shining example of why numismatics remains one of the most engaging and rewarding hobbies in the world. The journey may end here, but the search for extraordinary coins continues. Every coin in circulation holds potential, every inherited roll may conceal a treasure, and every collector carries the hope of uncovering the next story that transforms a simple penny into a legend. The 2007 Lincoln Memorial Cent, in all its technical perfection, historical context, and narrative richness, will forever serve as a reminder of the unexpected magic hidden in plain sight.